Welcome to today's exclusive live training over how to use 7 new options auto trader features to generate more profits, decrease your losses, and have more consistency. So let's dive right in. Feature overview. Again, it's like a mystery box here. We have so many fun things. Here's a brief overview. We're talking about VIX intraday percentage move and how we can use it, VIX overnight percentage move, reward to risk percentage, SMA rules, EMA rules, RSI rules, and opening range breakout rules, just to name a few. I'll let you guys to follow along with me. I'm going to go through some slides, and then we'll share screen together, and I'll walk you through it inside of the software itself. Then we'll get to Q&A. But option number one, if you're already an Options Auto Trader user, go and open up that in another screen. We'll be able to walk through it together. If not, you can start your 30-day trial by going to www.optionsautotrader.com/get started now. You should be able to find it, or go to optionsautotrader.com. Regardless, you can start your 30-day trial there to get it going. Either way, once you have the Options Auto Trader open, let's now dive in. So the first setting is VIX intraday percentage move, a highly requested one. This is going to be very important for my 0DTE traders, but let's dive into it. First off, what is it? It allows you to enter a trade only if VIX moves a certain percentage in a single day. Now, why would you want to do something like this? Great question. The biggest reason is crash protection, okay? If VIX spikes 10% or more in a day, that could be a strong indication that the market is going to start crashing soon. If so, maybe we have a bot running with this setting that buys a put if that's the case. If VIX spikes more than 10% in a single day, or a 10% intraday move, then we're going to buy a put, maybe a 1 DTE put, maybe a 0 DTE or 7 DTE, something short term where we can use that to profit and help protect our downside. You can also use it to help catch a falling knife. Okay, we all know that VIX can spike upwards of 100, 200, 300% in a single day. But when it does that, it tends to have a retracement at least a day or two after, before heading higher, or maybe just completely falling off. And so if VIX spikes 100%, 200% in a day, we can sell a put because now volatility is elevated, and we can take advantage of that quick volatility decrease. And it's a great way to better catch a falling knife. You can also pair this VIX intraday setting to watch VIX spike with some of our other EMA and RSI settings to get a perfect catching a falling knife type of situation. But that is the VIX intraday percentage move. You can use it in so many different ways. Those are some of the two main ways you can do it. Obviously, when you're inside of the Options Auto Trader, which I'll show you here in a second, whether you're going through the Auto Trader creator process, like you're creating a bot from scratch, or you're going to your settings, you should see a VIX entry settings little, box. And inside that box, again, you can see that setting right here, the intraday VIX percentage. Again, you can also only trade when VIX is trading during a certain price, which is good for other reasons. And then now let's dive into the next VIX setting, which is VIX overnight percentage move. What is this? Same type of concept, but overnight. It allows you to enter a trade only if VIX moves a certain percentage overnight. So when do we use this? This is best done for 0DTE strategies. If you go to Tasty Live or Tasty Trade, whatever their name is, where they do the reports, they have actually done a study that shows that 0DTE strangles, that's just how they measure 0DTE strategy. It can also be done with 0DTE iron condors, but those trades performed better. They had a higher win rate and a higher just profit overall when VIX was up overnight. And so again, they proved that in their studies. You can look at other studies that look at understanding if VIX moves a certain percentage overnight, they can give different strategies certain advantages. And so as a 0DTE trader, if you're someone trading something like an iron condor, then it may be beneficial to only allow the 0DTE iron condor to enter if VIX was up overnight. So again, you'd use the VIX overnight percentage settings to do this. So to explain, for all of these settings, if you ever see a minimum or a maximum, just to quickly explain, minimum means that number that you set or higher. Maximum means the number that you set or lower, okay? So when I say having VIX have a positive move overnight, what you could do is something as simple as putting a 1 in the minimum, which means as long as it's moved a positive 1% or more, then you're going to enter the trade, meaning that it's moved up. You can even do something just as simple as 0, meaning that, it's flat or higher, whatever it is you want to do. but that's how you would use it. And then again, if you want to make sure you're not trading when volatility is crazy overnight, you can set the maximum to something like 50. If VIX somehow moved 50% overnight, probably best to stay out of that trade or something like that, which can really help improve your win rate for zero DTE strategies. Again, these are all things that can be back tested as well in enhancing your strategy. Okay. Now that we covered the VIX things, now let's dive into our reward to risk ratio, which I love. So this shows you or allows you to enter a trade only if your reward to risk is above or below a certain percentage. What does this mean? This means that when we enter a trade, whether we have a take profit on it or not, or a stop loss on it or not, there is some amount of money that we're going to lose and some amount of money that we're going to win. And so when we do it this way, we can create a ratio or a percentage with these two numbers. So let's say I have a take profit and stop loss. The Options Auto Trader will factor those numbers in to be like, okay, if I'm going to win $500, but I'm risking $1,000, that means that my reward to risk ratio is 50%. Typically, we like to be 30% or higher on our trades. Those, at least at the Tasty Trade number, to be in that 30% range, 33% tends to be the ideal range. And so if you want to stick in that range, you can now do it. So trade consistency, meaning if you have a bot that has huge wins, small wins, huge wins, small wins, and is not consistent, then you can actually manufacture that consistency by saying, hey, only place the trade if it's going to have a 30% return or more based on my reward to risk at 30%, right? Or something like that. But also, this is very important for zero DTE commissions to make sure that you guarantee a certain profit on the trade, because again, zero DTE, especially if you're doing something like an Iron Condor, has a lot of commissions that you're going to pay to the broker. So to make sure that you're collecting enough money from your winning trades that you'll actually make a profit after the commissions. Different things like that to consider, but reward to risk staying around that 32-33% range is what Tasty Trade studies and researchers have shown in the past to be great. So aka doing a credit spread where you end up with around a 30% reward to risk rate based on how much you're going to make and how much you're going to lose. And again, that's right here as well. As mentioned before, if it says minimum, it means the number that you set or higher. Maximum is the number that you set or lower. So again, if I'm trying to target that 30 to 50% range, I can put 30% as my minimum and 50% as my maximum. And as long as the trade is in that range, then it can place that trade. So that's one way to do that. Next, now we're going to dive into indicators. So indicators have always been something that I've been hesitant to add to the Options Auto Trader because the whole goal behind the Options Auto Trader is to make automating your options trading easy, simple, and profitable. And so that has been literally my goal from day one. And I thought that adding all these features would blow up the software, which is why you may see that we hide things by default, because literally at the basic sense, I've been making money with this software. And I know a lot of people have also been making money with this software using only one strategy with a take profit setting, a stop loss setting, and nothing else. Okay. If you want to be more advanced, you can make sure the bot only runs during a certain market trend. But literally, that's all you need to make money on this. However, some of you guys want more. So I have added these features, but they are hidden by default under advanced settings. So if you're trying to see these settings, you'll go under advanced. Anyways, all that to say, before you were only able to use indicators when you integrated with TradingView using a webhook, which is another process in itself. And so I wanted to add 3 of the most popular indicators that you could use to actually help you improve your trading. So let's dive into each one. First one is the simple moving average. You probably heard of this before, but a moving average just tracks the average price. So the line on the chart, typically when a stock is above that line, it's a bullish stock. When it's below that line, it's bearish, something like that. So this allows you to enter a trade only if the stock is above or below a simple moving average that you pick. So when to use it? The most common instance is trend following. If you want to follow the trend, you can set it up so that a bot will only trade, or allowing a bullish bot to only trade if the market is above a certain SMA. Or you can also hedge. If the market is below that simple moving average, you can also enable your hedging bots to enter, something as simple as that. So again, you can see here, there's a box under the advanced entry settings called indicator settings. And you can see here called simple moving average SMA. what you do is you pick two different fields. Number one is you pick the SMA you want to pick. I preloaded it with the most popular ones. Just so you know, SMA is based on the daily chart. Okay. So when you click on this drop down, you'll see a 20 period, a 50 period, a 100 period moving average, a 200 period moving average. These are all the most frequently and most popular ones. And when you look at that, you're looking at what period was best on the daily charts. We're looking at long term. Simple moving average looks at long term trends. Okay. So you pick which period you want. 200 period moving average was one of my most popular and favorite ones when I started trading back in 2018. And then you pick the direction, which is do you want above or below that. So for instance, if I'm trying to trade a put credit spread, but I only want to trade it when the market is bullish, I could do something like creating a put credit spread, then on the entry rule, selecting the SMA to be something like the 100 period moving average, and then the direction to be above the moving average. And that means that this bot will only place the put credit spread trades if it's above that simple moving average. So that's one way you can use to be more of a trend following type of system. Now, we also have the exponential moving average. This is going to be more for my short-term traders. So it allows you to enter a trade if a stock is above or below the exponential moving average. If you've never heard of this before, it's like the SMA, but it's more adaptive. It puts more weight on the most recent prices, so it adapts to the price more quickly, which makes it a great day trader friendly moving average. So when to use it? Well, if you're trying to follow the trend, the intraday trend for 0DTE strategies, it's a great use. Also reversion. So this will show, for instance, if you have a 200-day moving average as your middle line, you're above it. But then if it breaks below the EMA, it probably means that the stock is reverting back down to the main moving average. Things like this all covered under charting. If you're familiar with charts, that's what you're doing here. Okay. Now, this setting is under here. What you need to know about the exponential moving average. This is based on the 1 minute chart. So when you select the drop down of what period, like a 10 period, 20 period, 50 period, whatever, those periods are based on the 1 minute chart. And then again, same thing with direction above or below that moving average so that you can actually trade that. So for instance, maybe you want to do a 0DTE put credit spread, but you only want to run it when the market is in an intraday uptrend. Then you can make sure that the EMA of whatever period you'd like is above. And that's how you would set up those things. Next, and last but not least of our indicators is the relative strength index, also known as RSI. This shows you when the market is either overextended, or I should say overbought or oversold, which means overextended in either direction. So if it's too high or too low, it gives you that understanding based on just some math of the market. So this allows you to enter a trade only if the stock is above or below a certain RSI amount. So when to use it, these are more for if you're trying to dip buy a long-term trade. Maybe you're doing a 1-1-1, a 1-1-2, or a 90-day plus out trade, but you want to make sure that you're nailing your entries so that you're collecting the most credit that you can and having the highest win rate, okay? Well, one way that we've already done that is by doing a red day setting. If the market is red, we're going to enter the trade. Well, this goes above and beyond because maybe you want to have multiple red days in a row and get at the very bottom or as close to the bottom as you want. That's when you do something like RSI. So you can dip buy it by having RSI show when the market is dipping and at the very bottom, and enter then only. Now it's going to limit when your trades enter. You will enter as many trades, but when you do enter, you'll get a superior entry compared to other trades. So that is definitely one way to do it as well. Here's the relative strength index. Again, we have multiple different time frames to select the time frame. You can pick the RSI on the 1 minute chart, on the 1 hour chart, on the 1 day chart, whatever it is you're looking at, and then have the min and max. So for instance, if you're looking for something that is oversold and coming down, then I should say overbought and will come down soon, then you can set the minimum RSI to 50. So that means, again, 50 and higher is overextended to the upside. So you put 50. So as long as it's trading 50 or higher, then it will allow you to enter that trade and you can make money on the downside. But if you're trying to dip buy, you can have a max of 30. So it means whenever RSI is 30 or below, which is a dip buy range, you can then enter then as well. That is the relative strength index. And this is one of the most popular ones because of a strategy that I created called the 1DTE ORB bot, which again is still only available to my coaching clients. So again, you can't automate everything specifically about it, but you have so much more range to do what you want to do. And I'll walk you through that here in a second. So what is an opening range breakout? It allows you to enter a trade only if the stock breaks above or below the first X minute high or low. Okay, this is confusing, but basically, let's say I'm looking at an hour opening range breakout, which means I wait for the first hour of the day Whatever high has formed, then I'm going to chart out that high. As soon as the market breaks above that high, then I'm going to enter a trade. And so now I can do that by setting it up in the software, and it's super easy. So when to use it? Well, this will help increase your 0DTE success rate if you're trying to follow the intraday trend or wait for breakouts like that. The opening range breakout is one of the most popular, most consistent strategies. If you go on YouTube, you'll probably see so many different people using it to trade. And now you can take their strategies from their channels and then plug it into here and have it automated for you. So basically just help you increase your success rate by aligning your trade with the actual direction of the market. Right here, the opening range breakout, you can pick the number of minutes that you want to do. So for instance, 15 minute, 30, no, I can get 5, 10, 15, 30 are the different breakout time frames. And then you can pick, do I want it to break out above the high or the low? So that you can also break out to the downside and trade the downside if you'd like as well. All those super simple way to now add indicator settings into the options auto trader, and it's made available for free for everyone. So you now have access to that. Congratulations. I hope you're able to use it and enjoy it. If you're someone, please hear me here, someone who is already having success with something and you're profitable, do not change a thing. Guys, these settings are so cool, but I personally do not use them. Okay. All these new settings I've talked about outside of the opening range breakout, I don't use them because sometimes simplest is the best. There's a lot of you guys who have strategies that are working very well and you need these settings. So now you have it, but please don't make your bot more complex if it doesn't need to be. So what are your bot possibilities now? The fact that we have all these indicator settings, all these new features, and we also have the ability to link bots together, which happened, I don't know, I think I launched that like 3-4 months ago, or, you can have one bot trigger another bot. Literally the possibilities are unlimited with what you can automate with the options auto trader. And it's super simple to do. But as always, use what's most simplest. Stick with something simple. You only need one great strategy on a long-term trading, take profit, stop loss, and maybe make it adjust to the trend if you can. You can also backtest any strategy now. All the most popular backtesters like the Options Omega software and the eDelta Pro software, we now literally have all their features set. So if you ever automate any strategy on basically any backtesting software, we now have all the settings available to yourself. Automate it now. This is amazing. Great for you guys because I know you may have backtested some things in the past and you haven't had all the settings you needed to fully automate it. Now you can. But also, I am working on building my own back tester. That's going to be something super simple, that's aligned with the options auto trader, coming soon. Again, I don't have an ETA for it yet because it's a bigger project to take on, but that's something that I'm working on as well. So I hope you're excited and stay tuned for that. Again, now I'm going to share my screen, which I'm already doing, but you can see here inside of my options auto trader account and dive into it. Okay. So whether you're creating your own bot from scratch or you want to add these to another bot you already have, you can do that. And so what I mean by that is, let's say I'm creating one from scratch. I'll click create auto trader. I'll click on create an auto trader. Let's say we want to do a put credit spread trade, long-term strategy. I'm going to show you something super simple. Remember what I said, we need something simple, works well. So we're going to do a long-term put credit spread trade where we have a take profit, a stop loss, and we adapt it to the trend. So let me show you how simple this is. Okay. We're going to do credit spread. A put credit spread. So it's put, we're going to keep just the default settings. I will bump up the day select expiration to 90 days. If I want to do something better, I can do SPX or futures, but if I don't have access to that, I can do SPY, work just as well. But just like this is a very simple, profitable strategy. If I don't have a large account, what I can do is I can move this up to 20 delta, make these spreads smaller so that I'm using less money, less buying power. Anyways, regardless, once I have a long-term strategy, next thing I need to do is make sure I align it to the trend. So once a week, that's fine. All this is fine. Then I'm going to go under here, under indicator settings. I can do something as simple as, okay, I want it to be above the 100 period SMA. And so I want it to be above the SMA, and just like that. So this means that it's trending up. So now I have a great strategy. I'm aligning it with the market by only trading once it's above or trending up. So just like that, now I have my great strategy. Now I have it trading in the right market. Now what I need to do is something as simple as take profits. 50% is pretty standard. Stop loss 300%. I can also make it a 200% stop loss. So I want a tighter stop, something like this. So now I have a great strategy, a put credit spread long-term. I've aligned it with the market trend. I might take profit and stop loss to manage my risk and take my profit quickly. And then next I do is I say how much money I want to trade with it. So let's say it's $1,000, right? I can save this trade and make it live basically. So let me save it. And just like this, everything's fully automated. Great strategy, aligned with the trend, take profit, stop loss, and I'm using the amount of money that I want to use. You can see that's how simple it is now with the options auto trade. I'm not going to say this is my live broker and it might place a trade if I do. But anyways, that is the power of all these new features you're doing. Also, if you want to add that to any of the other strategies that you're running. So for instance, let's say something like this, like a short-term strategy here. What you want to do is you want to go into settings, underneath entry rules. Again, I like to keep it as simple as possible. What we can do here is click on show all settings and you'll be able to see your reward to risk, which we talked about, the overnight percentage, intraday VIX percentage, and all the indicators here to adjust what we want to do. Again, I could do something as simple as 1% overnight move. This way, hey, I want to make sure VIX is moving that day. Again, I haven't tested this, all things that you want to back test first. But again, that's how simple it is to set it up inside of there. We're going to dive into Q&A now. I'm going to pull back up the chat. If you have any questions, please let me know. Put in the Q&A channel. But yeah, let's see what questions we have. Scott says, will this show VIX move from prior VIX close up or down? I don't know what you mean by show. So VIX overnight looks at the previous day close and that morning's open, and that's how it determines the percentage change. And then it sees if this matches your initial moves. Same thing with intraday. Well, I can't say W. YAW said, do I need a VPS or anything like that? So you probably wonder if you either run this on your own server, run this on your own computer. No, this is all already hosted in the cloud for you. You just access the website from any device, a computer, your phone, tablet, whatever, TV if you want. That might be hard to use though. But anyways, yeah, so you can access it from any browser and we're running it in the cloud 24/7 for you with backups in multiple countries and everything like that. So that it like literally will almost never go down. So you're good there. Bobby says, link to the free trial. I'm interested in the pre-made strategies. Yeah, of course. I didn't have time to put it in the chat earlier, but I will put it in the chat right now. The link to everyone who, if you're on this call and you're interested, you should be wanting to go start your 30-day trial so that you can actually do this yourself. Please let me know if you have any questions. Put it in the chat or Q&A channel, and I will be here for however long we have questions. If there are no questions, that's fine. We can end this early. But anyways, inside of the chat, I just put the link to the 30-day trial. So you go check that out. That 30-day trial, just so you know, does include a $27 fee that helps us cover the data fees. Data is literally one of the most expensive parts of this software. If you ever know that about getting options data in real time, quite expensive. So we do have you pay $27 data fee just to help cover that. But other than that, you're good to go. Lucas says, is it possible to see monthly P&L percentages? Can you explain what you mean by that? Like a breakdown of how much money you're making each month? So maybe like this month, maybe this percentage that month. If you want that, let me know. But I'm not fully understanding that question. Bobby says, suggestion. Mamuka says, correct. So basically just Mamuka wants better data display performance metrics, basically. Okay, just took note of that. And I'll work on that, add that to my to-do list. Bobby says, suggestion on how to switch from options alpha to options auto trader. I'm using TradeStation. Yeah, great question. So with that, it's going to be something as simple as going to the link that I just said, optionsautotrader.com/get started now. What you'll do is it'll show you the onboarding page, which is super simple. You just go in here to connect your broker. You will connect your TradeStation broker, which takes you over to the TradeStation site. You log in, you're good to go. And then once it's done that, then you can create and set up as many bots as you'd like. If you're having a difficulty, option alpha can be very confusing. And so the settings there can be very complex. And so sometimes what I have people do if they get confused moving, because we have had a lot of people who move from option alpha to the options auto trader, is you simply just click on this chat box, click on message us, send us a message and take a screenshot of your option alpha settings and configuration for the bot. And then we can help you turn that into a bot that works in the options auto trader. And then Bobby's also asking a follow-up question, which says, can I use both? Yes, we have people who use both as well. You're welcome to use both. What I will say here is the options auto trader is superior in simplicity, but primarily for long-term trades. So if you're a futures options trader or an index options trader, or a stock options trader, and you love long-term consistent trades, I'm talking like 45 days out, 90 DTE, 120 DTE. This is the platform for you. That's what we were built for. That's where most of your money is going to be made. We do work well with obviously zero DTE trades. I have my daily income ORB bond. That's, I can see here, maybe $2,000, so not too bad. Again, so that's the bond that we have there, and it works well. But if you're trying to be super duper nitty, picky, gritty, whatever, on zero DTE, that would be an option alpha, actually. But anyways, outside of that, we're better in everything else. Scott says, could you add RSI settings such as 2 and 30? Could you please explain what you mean by that? Let's dive into here. Show the settings. Underneath entry rules, click on show all settings. And then underneath indicator settings, you have relative strength. So I assume you're meaning 2-period RSI. So a 2-minute or 30 period. I'm not too sure what you mean by the period of the RSI. Take a look at that real fast. How can a new customer get the ORB bot? If you go to my YouTube channel, first link in the description will show you how. We can also email support@optionsautotrader.com, and they'll show you how as well. But you now have all the settings. It's basically build out 5, 10, 15, 30-minute opening range breakouts in any direction you're on the settings. You're good to go there. Okay, so let's take a look at RSI. Just getting a question about it, and I want to make sure that I answer that question correctly. I'm still not understanding Scott's question, but let me do my best here. So I look at the RSI settings. You mean changing the length? Is this what you're talking about? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So the length is defaulted to 14 for all of them. I will see if I can update that. But right now it's updated to, it's defaulted to 14. You just pick the time frame. So 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute would mean changing this to a 1 minute chart. That would be that RSI. A 15-minute RSI would look like this. And then obviously a daily RSI would look like this. And again, for those who aren't familiar with RSI, the RSI is this purple thing. So again, you can see here when the purple went below 30, as I was mentioning, below 30, that's when it's like in a dip buy zone. So again, triggered here and it bounced. It went way below, triggered here and bounced. So again, it won't happen a lot, but it can give you better entries. Maybe even if you do something like just, hey, I want to enter in bullish trades below 40, anything below 40 enter, it could just help you get better entries on that. But yeah, great question, Scott. It defaults to the 14 period, and I'll look into that. So any other questions? Let me check. I think there's a Q&A that I'm missing. Do you have an affiliate link? No, that's my software. I don't have an affiliate link, but you can go to, I think I put the link in the chat, www.optionsautotrader.com/get-started-now. Says, can I run the bot on multiple tickers at the same time? Of course. Again, each bot is connected to one ticker, so that we can manage it correctly. So you'll just have to have the same bot and we'll just duplicate it with different tickers. But yeah, same thing. Super easy. Will this video be available later for viewing? Yes, I'm pretty sure I'm recording this. As long as the recording comes out good, I'll send the recording out after this. Any other final questions before we go? That was the 7 features. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's see here. Just a reminder, we have the, while I wait for any final questions, all these: VIX intraday percentage, VIX overnight, reward to risk, SMA, EMA, RSI, and ORB. Maria says, can't wait to do our own back testing. Absolutely. I agree. A lot of the back testing softwares are very complex. And so I want to make it as simple as possible, just like with this software. And again, for Options Auto Trader users, it's going to be free. So congrats on that. But yeah, no ETA on that. It's a work in progress, big project, but I hope to get done with it by the end of this year at the latest. Srini says, if you already have purchased the software, do you have all these features? Yeah, of course, yeah. So if you are already a software user, no matter what plan you're on, you have access to all of these features right now for free in your account. So if you go to your Options Auto Trader account and your settings or Create Auto Trader, you will see all those settings there. It is all for free for you guys right there to go use however you'd like. Awesome. Sweet. Any other questions? Bill says, made $3,585 on the ORB bot in a live trading account since 9/2. Thanks. Love it, Bill. Round of applause, brother. That's insanely awesome. So glad to hear that. Literally paid for the software for a year, 2 years. Anyways, congrats. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing. Everyone should give Bill a round of applause. That's amazing. See, this is what I want to say is we're not doing anything complex here. Sure, we have all these settings that we can now use, but the most successful people in the options auto trader do a couple things. One, they pick a great strategy. They align it with the market trend. They have a take profit and stop loss. Okay. So that's really all it is. So Bill, with the opening range breakout bot that you guys saw, it's a great strategy. It's a 30 delta put credit spread. Great strategy. It's aligned with the market. It uses the opening range breakout to make sure it's aligned with the intraday trend, and it has a take profit and stop loss. Look at that. My 112 trade here, $21,000. My other one that I started recently, a 111 trade. This is a 111 trade, $7,600 in the last 3 months, right? All this is a great strategy, the 112, aligned with the market trend, only trades during uptrends, and has a take profit and stop loss. See how simple that is? Okay. So please don't make this more complex than it needs to be. The Options Auto Trader will guide you through it. We also have our own database of strategies using this. See, that's it. I hope that makes sense. All right, congrats on Bill making almost 4,000. Eddie saying he's made money from it too, and Mook is saying 112 is the best. So glad you guys are here. Again, I will send out this replay as soon as I can. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you learned a lot, and yeah, hopefully we get to do this again in my next feature release, which will most likely be the backtester. But anyways, we got time on that. Anyways, guys, thanks. Enjoy your Wednesday. I will see you later.